Matterhorn moment number 2. What do you do, right? Do you keep injecting your body with these drugs, or do you just say nature will take its course? And it was a tough decision, because there comes a point where, and this isn't chemo, it's called a hypomethylating treatment, but it has sort of a similar toxicity of chemotherapy, right? When we were literally going into my DNA and turning proteins on and off with these treatments. And though chemo has a different type of liver toxicity, heart toxicity, hypomethylating treatments have different types of toxicity. So, again, I call these Matterhorn moments. This was Matterhorn moment number 2, where to keep going. And we decided to keep going. So, round 6, complete success. And we just had to keep going at it. And at round 6, the disease got into full remission. How, why, was it just the volume? People really, the experts really don't know, but we got there. And I can tell you, success, you look on a scoreboard, 3-0, you can read the scoreboard, that's good. Getting success on AML means you lay on a table, they drill in the back of your pelvis, into your bone marrow, they stick a needle in, 4-6 inches long, stick it all the way in, suck out the bone marrow, take the bone marrow in little slabs, put it on a microscope, and go, the leukemia is gone. So success was a little painful. I got a few little scars back there. But I don't know how many have kind of gone through a pelvic biopsy. I've done 5 of them. But by round 6, we got to complete success, and it was a beautiful thing. And it just took that perseverance and strength to get there. Complete molecular remission. Now I faced a choice. So that induction box and that consolidation box, we were sort of off the script on that. But let's just say we progressed through those 2 boxes. I faced a choice here that said, okay, we solved the short term now. We're there. Do we go after the long term? And the morbidity and mortality stats. Morbidity is the quality of life. Mortality is the success of living, if you will. I've learned those terms. And there are odds of saying if you just stop, what will happen from here? And there's a reasonable chance the disease would come back, given its AML. Or do you go for the long-term win, which is a stem cell transplant? Kind of given my presenting conditions, given the other factors, the facts and the stats were pretty clear that I was best served by placing a bet, fact-based, going after the long-term remission. Notice I don't use the word cure. I'm cured, and again, it ends well. But doctors won't use the word cure. Cancer doctors won't say cured. They'll talk about event-free living. They'll talk about disease-free living, and all those sort of things. But they will never use the word cured. And I keep pushing my doctor, just say it, go ahead, just say it once, just say it. And he still won't say it, but I'm pretty pervasive and persuasive, and I may get him there. So I decided to go for stem cell transplant to complete that journey, and it's not without its risk. So lifted myself up, went off to Johns Hopkins, where the other AML expert is, and decided to go through a stem cell transplant. What is a stem cell transplant? Well, you all carry what's called a progenitor cell. And it's top of the hierarchy in your blood chain. And you all carry it. And that progenitor cell then matures into a basophil, an eosiophil, a neutrophil, a white blood cell, a red blood cell, a T lymphocyte. But it's the progenitor cell that creates all your different subtypes in your blood. And my progenitor cell was a little wonky, and that's what it wasn't building all these mature cells, so it was blasting out immature cells. So The transplant is I got to replace my progenitor cell with somebody else's. And where do you find a stem cell, right? You look for a related donor, a family member, and maybe there's a good match there. Maybe you go to an unrelated donor. There are 13 million registered folks in beamatch.org. Incredible folks who are willing to donate stem cells. There are two things that you look for. You look for what's called an HLA match. You look for an ABO match. ABO is like all your blood type stuff, and HLA is all your genetic stuff. And very simply, the better the match, the better the outcome. Right? It's not any stem cell you're looking for. You're looking for the best match to you in that stem cell. So sadly for me, there was no match. I'm adopted. My family's adopted. And I couldn't go to a sibling to find a stem cell. So, I never have really had an interest to go find my natural family, but there was a need at this point. And so I went out to try to do it. I hired a detective and found my mom who had passed away. Think I found my natural father, but wasn't quite sure, so we didn't knock on the door. But I found a brother, a younger brother, and I found an aunt. But for whatever reason, they had no interest in really connecting with me. And so I didn't push hard. I found them. A detective found them, went up to their doors, talked to them, handed them a letter, and they had no interest in connecting with me. Quite fine. I hope someday they do. So out of the 8 million domestic folks registered, there was no match.